Suspended chords won't just make your music sound beautiful, they'll make you connect emotionally with your songwriting again. So in this video I'm going to reveal what suspended chords are, how they can be used to bring movement to your songs, and the tightrope they create in your chord progressions, which reveal their beauty. Suspended chords, also known as sus chords, have a pleasing open sound that is combined with a subtle dissonance and tension that create a truly unique experience. Listen to the C sus4 chord to hear this in action. Suspended chords come in two distinct flavours, sus4 and sus2. Let's look at the C major scale to learn how they're constructed. The first note is C. If you skip a note, you get to the third note E. Skip another note and you arrive at the fifth note G. C, E and G are the notes in a C major chord. Suspended chords leave out the third note and replace it with the fourth or the second note. Depending on which note you choose, will change which type of sus chord you create. So C sus4 would have the notes C, F and G, and C sus2 would have the notes C, D and G. Look at these four C chords. You can see that the first and fifth note remain the same, but the other note is descending by half a step or a semitone each time. Each suspended chord has two inversions. Suspended second chords are inversions of suspended fourth chords, and vice versa. For example, C sus2, which you heard a moment ago, has the notes C, D and G. This is the first inversion of G sus4, which has the notes G, C and D. G sus4 is therefore also the second inversion of C sus2. Before I move on, just be aware that sus2 chords are not the same as add9 chords. If you look at the C major scale, you see that the second note is D. After the seventh note, the scale repeats. So the eighth note is C and the ninth note is D. So the second and ninth notes are the same. Add9 chords add a ninth note to an existing major or minor triad. So although they contain the notes of the sus2 chord, they also have a third note. And as you know, removing this is important for creating the suspended sound. Here's C major add9 and C sus2 played after each other to give you an idea of this difference. Keeping your hand in the same position won't just make your life easier, it will also make your progressions better. This is true on both piano and guitar when playing sus chords, and particularly when using the most common sus chord progression technique, which is to create a sense of movement with static chords. To generate this movement, you simply alternate between the standard chord and the different sus chord versions. This has been used to create whole song sections and is popular in certain genres of music, such as jangle or indie rock. Here's a simple example on the guitar, showing you how easy it is to create riff-like movements by moving a single finger. You can try out sus chords wherever you like in your progressions, substituting out major and minor chords. But if you want to be strictly diatonic, that is sticking to chords from a key, then in major keys you should avoid the 3 sus2 chord and the 4 sus4 chord. If you want an easy to use guide with 7 simple songwriting keys, as well as 6 popular chord progressions, then head to majorkeychords.com and download your free copy today. Link is also in the description. Tightrope walking, also called funambulism, is the skill of walking along a thin wire or rope. It has a long tradition in various countries and is commonly associated with the circus. And like the tightrope walker maintaining tension and building suspense until they reach the other side, sus chords can be utilised to maintain tension and delay resolution in your chord progressions. This delayed resolution is the traditional way to use suspended chords. When you move from the 5 chord to the 1 chord in major keys, you create a cadence. A harmonic cadence is a progression of 2 or more chords that concludes a phrase, section or piece of music. This creates a sense of full or partial resolution. Cadences are fundamental to Western music. You get a feeling of this in the basic major key chord progression 1-4-5-1. I'll stretch out the 5-to-1 tightrope by suspending the 5 chord in the next C major key example. This helps to ramp up the tension by delaying resolution. On the first repeat, I'll play the G sus4 chord. On the second, I'll play G sus2. Both chords have the same function here, but you'll get to hear the different flavour each one brings to the progression. You can also achieve a similar thing by suspending the 1 chord after the 5 chord to stretch out the resolution. For example, suspended chords are commonly found in folk music and popular music. You can listen to their emotional connection in the distinctive sound from the harmony of The Long and Winding Road from the Beatles' final album, Let It Be. Joni Mitchell was also a fan of their unresolved sound to evoke unresolved questions and emotions. But sometimes this sound can lead to suspended chords sticking out more than you would like in your music. Sus chords can be better integrated in a progression if the chord before it has a common tone, especially the second or fourth note itself. This can sometimes require the use of different chord types. In the next example, in the key of C major, I'll use the minor 7th chord for the 2 chord. This uses a C note, which is the 4th note in the following 5 sus4 chord. Also note how it moves to the 6th chord after 5 rather than 1 to create an extra element of surprise and movement. So far I've demonstrated diatonic examples, but what if you want to use borrowed chords from outside of the key? Well, this can allow you to further extend the progression tightrope and ramp up the tension. A common borrowed chord in major keys is the flat 7, from the parallel, Dorian, Mixolydian or natural minor keys. If you're not worrying about being strictly diatonic, then you can use any sus chord wherever you like. And a pleasing application of this is with the sus2 flat 7. Like the standard flat 7, this only introduces a single note from outside of the key, so it just adds a touch of difference and interest. Flat 7 chords will often follow on from a 6 chord. So in this example, I'm going to extend the progression tightrope by playing flat 7 and flat 7 sus2 before 5 sus4 and finally 5. I have to admit at this point that you might have just wasted your time. The thing is, everything I just told you is completely useless if you don't know how to create major key chord progressions. Watch the video on screen next to learn a simple chord progression system.